Colonel Rob Maness has a lifelong record of providing dedicated service to this nation. Having worked his way up from the enlisted ranks to full colonel, he served our country for more than 32 years. He has served as a bomber squadron commander, bomb disposal technician, Joint Chiefs of Staff Operations Officer, assisted the National Security Team with the campaign plan for the global war on terrorism. He authored the first theater nuclear war plan and served as the Vice Commander of America's largest airborne intelligence wing. Colonel Rob Maness is a true American hero. This is Rob Maness Live.
Zohran Mamdani is taking heat from some immigrant groups. His office released a map highlighting the neighborhoods that make up New York City's melting pot, but some long-established communities were left off. Senior Fox News correspondent Eric Shawn takes a look at that.
New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani is being accused of erasing some of his constituents off the map. Literally, Mamdani's office released a map called New York City Immigrant Enclaves, citing 30 spots, but did not include Italian, Jewish, Irish, or Greek neighborhoods.
He goes and he created that abomination of an ethnic map, and he excluded the Greeks that they worked for him and they've been friends with him for so many years, and he just exclude us. We don't exist.
There is a Little Palestine for an Arab American street, two Little Africas, Central and South American neighborhoods, and even a Little Boot Tibet. But Manhattan's historic Little Italy and other heavily Italian neighborhoods are absent. Lawyer Gerard Maroney, vice president of the Italian American Civil Rights League, says the oversight is offensive and wrong.
When we saw that, we were really shocked. We were really taken back. We were offended. We felt disrespected. Italian Americans built this city. He left out Little Italy. How do you leave out Little Italy? And not only that, he left out so many other important ethnic groups.
Mamdani claims leaving anyone out was unintentional.
Clearly not an exhaustive list of the more than 200 ethnic communities that call our city home, and we're going to be making additional changes in the future to reflect that, and that includes adding Little Italy to the map.
But Maroney says all New York City ethnic groups should be recognized.
Together we can make New York great again, but he can't forget about the ethnic groups, the Italian Americans, the Greeks, the Jews, all these different ethnic groups that built this city, that were so important to the city. He can't forget about us. And if he does forget about us, we're going to make ourselves known.
Welcome back to the Rob Maness Show. We're live on Worldview Tube and our X Spaces simulcast. Well, folks, you just saw it with your own eyes. The New York City Mayor, Zohran Mamdani, the self-described democratic socialist, but really the Islamic-Marxist communist who thinks the American flag is optional, released an official city map of immigrant enclaves for the World Cup and deliberately erased Little Italy, the Irish, Jews, everything that he hates. And that's the problem. The neighborhood that helped build New York, Little Italy, the streets where our Italian-American grandparents and great-grandparents arrived with nothing, worked themselves to the bone, opened shops, raised families, and became proud Americans. That's what they're saying there. It's gone. It's not on the map. Meanwhile, Little Palestine, Little Yemen, Little Egypt, front and center. This is not a clerical error. He's a liar. This was a cultural erasure attempt, an attack on the very heritage that made this city and America great. And here's the good news. Italian Americans aren't taking it. The Italian American Civil Rights League is fighting back hard. You just heard from their vice president. And now the Irish are joining the fight. And that's right. The same two groups who built so much of this country side by side are teaming up again. Because when you mess with one of us, and I'm Scotch-Irish, you mess with all of us. So joining me right now is Mike Byrne, proud Irish American and the brand new official Irish American delegate to the Italian American Civil Rights League. Mike, welcome back to the show. Let's talk about this Islamic communist mayor's war on our heritage and how you guys are going to stop it.
Glad to be here, Rob. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So what did you think when you first saw this, Mike? This
well,
map?
It's unfortunately it's to be expected from the likes of Comrade Mamdani and his ilk that have infiltrated City Hall in New York, they have an agenda to replace those who made New York and America great. And they made that very clear with this map, leaving off the Italians and Little Italy and Arthur Avenue up in the Bronx. They left off the Irish enclaves of Hell's Kitchen and Woodlawn and some of the areas out on the shore. They left out the Polish, they left out the Germans, they left out the Jews, they left out all the different constituencies that came together in the melting pot of New York in the late 19th century, early 20th century to build that city, put it on the map, and make it great. And it was not an accident. Had he left off only one group, maybe that would be an accident, but he left them all off.
What do they all have in common?
Well, I guess what they all have in common is they're the groups that were targeted by Ted Kennedy in the 1965 Immigration Act and the others in 1965 that wanted to limit immigration for some bizarre reason from Northern and Western Europe and open up immigration to all other parts of the world, to communities and cultures that don't necessarily align with the West. And that's an agenda that's been in place for a long time, since 1965, and it's something we have to fix or we're going to lose our country.
Yeah, you're exactly right. The other thing that strikes me is that they're all white Western civilization folks, is what their demographic is, and that is striking. That he took this scalpel and tried to cut them out of what they created. But that's typical of Islamists, isn't it?
It is very much so. Yeah. When I get together with my Italian friends, they often remark in a jovial way that, they'll say St. Patrick was Italian. And what they mean, of course, was that he was born during the time of the Roman Empire. And, so we all trace our heritage in this country, especially to Rome, Greece, to Rome, Athens, and Jerusalem. That's our heritage. It's not Mecca and Medina. But Comrade Mamdani wants to replace Rome, Athens, and Jerusalem with a way of life that is wholly different from what built this country and made it great.
Yeah, Mike, you've been active in politics for a long, long time, much longer than I have, and worked all kinds of different jobs inside political campaigns and organizations and those kinds of things. But one of the other striking things about that video was what the Greek fellow said about, well, we worked for him, we're friends of his, and that is true. A lot of these same folks voted for Mamdani for mayor. What are you hearing from folks that did that inside these groups?
Well, there's a lot of people that have their heads buried in the sand over what's happening in this country, and you certainly see that in the Jewish American community. A lot of cultural Jews that don't understand that their necks will be on the chopping block first, and you see that with other groups too. They don't have. Some members of different ethnic groups don't have the courage of their convictions. They don't want to be ostracized. They want to be seen as egalitarian or woke or whatever the case may be. And for whatever reason, they go down these roads, electing people that are going to bring about cultural and national suicide for us. And, we have to resist them. We have to be the real resistance to save this country.
Yeah, what are the things that that we, because New York City is not the only place that has this. As a matter of fact, just this week, last weekend, a story broke where there is an actual municipal judge that wears the hijab that's just been appointed in a very small town in central Mississippi, of all places. So we now have our own hijab-wearing Yemeni American female judge at the municipal level. I mean, it's not a huge lot of power, but that's all it takes is one to get the ball rolling, and that's what happens, isn't it?
100%. Wearing the hijab is one thing, but is this the canary in the coal mine of Sharia law in small town Mississippi We already have it in Dearborn, Michigan. We have it in Minnesota. We have it in parts of Paterson, New Jersey, and New York City and elsewhere. And they want to do it in Texas. There was an amendment to ban it in Texas on the last primary in March. So it's a big problem. It's antithetical to our way of life in this country. And I don't know how, I don't know where this is going, but I don't have a good feeling about it.
So let me ask you. You said that you have it in New Jersey?
Well, Paterson.
Sharia law?
Well, certain neighborhoods, right, in Paterson, Dearborn, Minnesota, New York. There's certainly there's the light enforcement of Sharia law. The police in, I believe it's Paterson. If it's not Paterson, it's Passaic, two cities adjacent to each other, are wearing Palestinian flags on their police uniforms. They call it Little Palestine. So, I mean, this is, listen, there's no group, I would say, with all due respect to my Italian brothers and sisters, I would say there's no group besides the Irish that have been more involved in law enforcement in this country. We never wore an Irish flag patch on our official uniforms or asked the entire New York City Police Department to wear an Irish flag on the patch. I mean, it makes no sense. It's insane. So, I mean, this is, I don't understand exactly who's allowing this and where we're going, but there's going to be a reckoning here, and we're going to have to stand up if we want to save this country for the next generation.
Yeah. There seems to be, what I've encountered, especially the last week, is there's a lot of confusion between what Sharia law means, what religion is, and then this relationship between the Islamists and the communists or socialists, whatever you want to call them. They're Marxists. And Mamdani's like the poster child for all of that. He comes from a Sharia adherent family. We've seen him, even though he says he's not that religious. We see him doing religious things in the governor's mansion, in the office, out on, having people pray in mass in Times Square and blocking traffic, and those kinds of things, and being able to get away with it for what's supposed to be a very, very small segment of the population for the most part. But the relationship between Islam and the communist or the DSA, whatever you want to call them, that's what he is. And his policies are aiming in that direction. How do we educate folks on the different things that I just talked about, Sharia law, the Islamist and Marxist connection, and how it translates into policy? Because quite frankly, I don't think people believe me.
Well, that could be the case. We have to. It takes one followed by others to speak up about these concerns. There's a lot of people that are, maybe afraid of being bullied, afraid of being intimidated. They want a virtue signal. They're concerned about bringing up any kind of concern about another religion. But we can't be afraid. We simply can't be afraid. What this threat represents to this country, the way that certain aspects of Islam, buttressed by the communists, as you correctly point out, the way they speak about the takeover, their intent to take over and to remake the country by force if necessary. We have to be willing to talk about it, and more and more people have to be willing to talk about it, so that those who aren't paying as close attention understand, that this isn't an attack on anybody's peaceful practice of religion, but we have to be concerned about the forceful practice of religion and how it could affect us.
Yeah, if you're an adherent to Sharia law, you believe in stopping other people through various means, anything ranging from attacks to killing them if they don't convert, to make sure that Islamism is prominent, preeminent, and in charge of whatever land you're on. And that's not the way things are going to work in the United States of America. We got to take a break, Mike. When we come back, we'll see a little clip from Mike Crispy, the president of the Irish American Civil Rights League, about this issue and some of the things that the group is doing that we all need to help them with. We'll be right back with Mike Byrne.
You woke up with a sore throat and a low-grade fever. You know you are getting sick, so here's your choices. You can get sicker and miss work. Try to see a doctor this week or sit hours in a crowded waiting room at urgent care.
I have a smarter option for you. Open your medical emergency kit. Match your symptoms to doctor-recommended prescription in your booklet and take the right meds now and get well faster.
This is not a first aid kit. It's like having an urgent care in your home. It includes doctor-prescribed medications to treat over 39 medical issues like respiratory infections, strep throat, pneumonia, UTIs, and more.
No waiting to see the doctor and no standing in line at the pharmacy. It's right here.
Every home should have at least one medical emergency kit, and here's how to order.
Go to worldviewhealthcare.com. Your kit to treat dozens of common and serious illnesses is rushed to your door. worldviewhealthcare.com. That's worldviewhealthcare.com.
The emergency kit available at worldviewhealthcare.com. Make sure you don't have to go to urgent care. I got pneumonia. I didn't have to go. I took this last year. Stayed at home, went to bed.
With this message here, we were here before Zohran. We will be here long after Zohran. Little Italy will not be erased. Why do you feel that it was important to send that message and send it so strongly?
Well, Little Italy won't be erased because we built the city. The people who have done the hard work in this country to build the country, coming to America, doing it the right way, not making excuses in the face of prejudice or discrimination, which Italian Americans experience. That is the message of America. It is about the American dream. It is about thriving for something better. It is about having the courage, which our ancestors did, to pursue a better life with nothing in their pocket, coming to America. That's the story of America. And if you erase that, you erase America. And all these great groups of people did it, including Italian Americans. We made New York the greatest city in the world. And nobody, not Zohran or nobody, are going to change that. That is why we can never erase and forget about places like Little Italy and the other enclaves who have made this city great, no matter what Zohran does or pushes.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, the Italians that built New York City. It's actually incredible it was left out. Mike Crispy, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you very much.
Welcome back to Truth Thursday on the Rob Maness Show. We're live on Worldview YouTube and our X Spaces simulcast. My guest today is Mike Byrne, who is the Irish delegate to the Italian American Civil Rights League. That was Mike Crispy you just heard from there on Newsmax, the president of the IACRL. And Mike, the IACRL was on this very, very rapidly. I was impressed with their responses, both initially and over the longer term. I mean, this happened in mid-July, I think it was, is the closest date I could figure out. What are the kinds of things that they are doing actively on the ground to combat this?
Well, you're right. The Italian American Civil Rights League under Mike Crispy's leadership was on it within hours. Had a press release out. Mike had a video out on Twitter, and very soon thereafter had announced a rally, which we held on July 31st in Little Italy, with hundreds of members of the Italian American Civil Rights League. And we were grateful to be joined, frankly, by the gubernatorial candidate in New York, Bruce Blakeman, who came and spoke in support of preserving Little Italy and preserving the influence of all the great Western countries in America. I think in the future, what you'll see from the Italian American Civil Rights League is additional delegates will be named from other groups, and we're going to have additional rallies. We're going to obviously be focused on preserving the Columbus statue in Midtown Manhattan, which has been threatened by the woke left repeatedly over the years. We're going to preserve Columbus Day and the Columbus Day Parade in New York and other cities in the Northeast especially. And I think there's a rally planned, an event planned at the end of October as well out in New York by the Italian American Civil Rights League. And as I say, I think you'll see delegates, you'll see Polish delegates, you'll see German delegates, Jewish delegates named as well, because we're all in this fight together. And we have to remember that a country that was sort of discovered by Columbus. You have the Irish were involved, as I know your family knows well, in the Revolutionary War. You had General Pulaski supporting the Continental Forces. You had General von Steuben supporting the Continental Forces, Lafayette, of course. So this is Western Europe came together to create this country, and this country has preserved Western Europe through 2 world wars. And we're all going to have to stay together if we want to preserve it for another 250 years.
Oh, absolutely right. Make sure you pass to Mr. Crispy that if he needs a Scotch-Irish delegate from the South, my family, as you know, has been fighting for this country since before the beginning. I'm a volunteer, happy to do it because we almost have to create a league of Western civilization representatives to protect America's Western civilization, don't we?
Yes, I think that's right. I think that's right.
What are the are you hearing anything in your neck of the woods in New Jersey from other ethnic groups that want to band together and create multi-state actors as part of this, or?
Well, I don't know that I've heard about it in New Jersey. I mean, I think Mike Crispy and the Italian American Civil Rights League, sort of based in New York as a national organization, they're right now, I would say, the galvanizing force. I mean, there is, I know that some of the, some folks from the different ethnicities we just talked about have already been in touch with them, and that, those appointments will be coming soon. I think we'll have to look at, I think we have to look at as Western countries, as you're indicating, we have to look at our education system. This has been a perennial problem for a long time now, where kids are coming up, whether it's through the public schools, even through some private and parochial schools, without an appreciation for what the West has offered the world. And I think, I think the fact that children and others don't necessarily see how impactful the West has been, see how special the United States is, when they don't love the country and appreciate how different it is, how unique it is in world history, I think that provides an opportunity for others to come in and drive the message that maybe it should be replaced or it should be changed in ways that will ultimately lead to its destruction. So that's something we have to focus on. And you've seen that with Columbus Day, in certain towns and states where they've tried to eliminate teaching about Columbus, teaching about the founding of or the discovery of the continent. And we can't allow that. We can't allow that.
Do you think this is one of his methodologies to connect critical theory wokeism, which essentially teaches kids that people of color are the oppressed and the bad white people are the oppressor? Nothing can ever change that, and we need to erase the bad people from our history and from our communities. Is this one of those ways that Mamdani's trying to do that?
Oh, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. Why, why wouldn't it be? He can say what he wants, and he can try to talk around it, but it's what he does. It's their actions that matter. Listen, when this guy was first sworn in, it was only a week or a month later that there was a new archbishop installed in St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York. Mayors have always gone to the installation of the Archbishop of New York, the primary spokesman for the Catholic Church in the country, basically. He didn't show up. And then he didn't show up to the St. Patrick's Day parade.
No, he didn't.
A month later. No. Oh. I believe I'm right about that. No. So he's avoided all the traditional places that mayors go as they relate to the ethnicities that built his city, and he's done that deliberately.
Yeah, I think it's deliberate too. I'm trying to help people understand this connection between Islamism, Sharia law, and Marxism and communism. And I think Mamdani's the right person to study because he's been in government. And I do believe he's trying to use all three, but I believe the Islamists are wearing communism as a skin suit, and eventually they will get to the point where they're trying to charge the jizya tax, which is the tax on other religions like Christians. And it's not just paying the tax either. You have to show and demonstrate public submission to Islam and pay the tax, and you get treated as like second, third class citizens. You don't have the same privileges of law that a Muslim does. You can't do certain things. You have to stand up if a Muslim comes into the room where you're at. I mean, there's all kinds of things, and they try to take over churches and turn them into mosques. That's part of how Islamism conquers, and Marxism is closely associated with that because they want to, delete the past essentially in history in order to replace it. And I think the Islamist piece of this is treating the communists as their own useful idiots.
Well, I'm sorry to say they're doing that in my hometown in Montclair, New Jersey, the home of our illustrious governor, the home of Stephen Colbert and half the New York Times editorial board. And this is a town that was largely a Protestant town. I think there's traditionally about 50 different churches in town. 4 of them are Catholic churches. They're and I include in that synagogues, but largely lots of different Protestant denominations, Methodist, Anglican, Presbyterian, and so forth. And there's a little Protestant church a stone's throw from our high school on Park Street. And it was just announced that it's been sold and will become I don't know if you would say it's a mosque or a Muslim center of some sort. And they're going to be taking that over. I think you saw that right after 9/11. There was an effort to build a mosque down in downtown New York, which I think was defeated at that time. But no, it's these things are indisputable for those who are willing to look and speak up about them. And the tax, of course, that tax, it's you'll see that proposed sooner or later in certain locations. And the question is, will there be enough of us to stand up and fight back?
Yeah, I think the what's the tax called? It's a French term that he's trying to put on the wealthy folks that own a home in New York City, but own another one. Second apartment. I forget what the French term is for it. I think that's the beginning. It's only the beginning of these attempts to tax people that he disagrees with.
Well, and he's talking about reparations too. So all these things are sort of attacks on the past, and they're a way to gaslight those of us in the present that we're not as good as a culture as we are or could be, or that we have to be replaced. We have to make changes for whatever may have happened. But we have to fight all of this because if we lose this country, we're going to lose the world. I don't know where your kids, grandkids, it's not going to be pretty for the future.
Yeah,
and it's happening very fast too. It's very disturbing how fast this is happening.
It's happening very fast, Mike. I think I've got a hand in the audience. We'll get it in the next segment. It's happening very fast. I told you about the Muslim judge appointment that happened. It took people by surprise here in Mississippi, but I've been helping do some of the research on investigative journalism side of it, and I discovered that there are mosques all the way from the northern end of Mississippi down to where I live on the coast. They're west to east to west, north and south. They're spread out all over the state. But they say there's only 3,000 Muslims in the entire state. And there's even an Islamic center on Keesler Air Force Base, I discovered this morning. I didn't believe it when it popped up. So I went to the actual map, and there is an Islamist center on a U.S. military Air Force base. That surprised me very, very much because that's a political issue, in my opinion, because Islam is not a religion or a faith. It's a political ideology. And everything we're talking about here and how it works doesn't describe a religion. It describes a political ideology in a form of governance. Got to take another break.
And the key a hostile political ideology.
Yeah, very hostile. I want to get into that in the next segment. We'll be right back with Mike Byrne. We're talking about the erasure of Italians and Irish and Jews and Greeks by Mamdani in New York City. It's incredible. You got to stop it. We'll be right back.
At a certain age, you stop chasing younger. You start protecting what helps you feel steady, strong, and well. Your body's collagen matters. It supports the structure of your skin, joints, and connective tissue. But as the years go by, your body needs more support from the inside. That's where Bella Grace Elixir comes in. Bella Grace Elixir combines Verisol collagen, the world's most clinically proven collagen, with Asteryl astaxanthin and cat's claw in a proprietary blend designed to help support the processes that reconstruct collagen, while also offering antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects. And this isn't just for women. It's for men and women who want to age with more confidence, more care, and a daily wellness routine that supports the body from within. One simple elixir, thoughtfully formulated for whole body wellness. Take care of the body that has carried you this far. Order Bella Grace Elixir today at melissahousebg.com.
Mayor Mamdani, I give you a year. You are not a New Yorker. You have no clue.
I'm Isabella Reggi, and today we are here in Little Italy asking the locals how they feel about one of the oldest immigrant communities, Little Italy, not being included on Mayor Mamdani's immigrant enclave map.
I don't consider you to be my mayor.
I think it's disgraceful for what he's doing. He's got to be fair to everybody, and he's not fair to everybody. He's not fair to the Jewish people, which he makes everybody notice he's not fair to the Jewish people. He's not fair to the Irish people. And now he hates the Italians. For what reason? What do we do to him that he should hate us?
They always sort of pushed us to the side. I got it, yeah. In other words, Little Italy, they take care of their own problems. And we're always pushed aside. And I think it's about time that we have to be firm about this. Otherwise, we'll totally be forgotten.
If you understand what took place here over 100 years ago, between 1880 and 1920, when the mass migration of Italian immigrants first came, this was the stepping stone for the Italians.
Well, the Bari family came here 120 years ago from Sicily. They were immigrants. They landed down in what's known as the 5 Points. Grandma started the San Gennaro Festival. That right up there, that is Grandma. That is Grandma. Grandma from the Bari family. Okay, she is the heart and soul of this neighborhood.
My grandfather was on the Society of St. Gennaro, which happens to be this year 100 years. So it means a lot to me, Little Italy, you know?
There's no such thing as left or right down here. Both sides of the street are beautiful.
And what makes New York City such a special place is a collage of many different cultures. People from all over the world come here and settle. And they need to be recognized for the contributions that they brought to this wonderful country.
Welcome back to the Rob Maness Show on Worldview Tube, when we're live on our X Spaces simulcast, and we're telling the truth here on Truth Thursday. My guest is Mike Byrne, who is the Irish American Delegate to the Italian American Civil Rights League, which is leading the charge in response to Mamdani trying to erase Little Italy, the Greeks, the Irish, you name it. If they're from Western civilization and built this great city of New York and this country, he has erased them off his map. Of course, then he denies it and everything. And that's because he's an Islamist, Marxist, and that's what they do. Mike, we got a question in the audience. I want to take that real quick. Let's go ahead over to Shell, who's hosting our X Space. Go ahead, Shell.
We have Moonlit, sir.
Hello, Colonel. It's a pleasure to meet you. I learned today that, where do we go? President Eisenhower on August 24th of 1954 signed the Communist Control Act, which declared the Communist Party. Do you know about this?
I do.
How do we get it implemented? I'd love to hear your guys' opinions on it.
Well, Mike, if you haven't heard of the Communist Control Act, it's still on the books, and it prevents communists from doing things like holding public office.
I'm embarrassed. I should know more about this, but I don't know about it. I need to look into that.
Yeah. Part of the problem, Moonlit, and thanks for the question. It's a good question, is that we are no longer enforcing the Communist Control Act, even though it's still a valid law on the books. And I would say that it also needs to be amended to include Sharia adherent people to prevent them from doing things like holding public office too, because Sharia adherence is not just faith. It's not a religious faith. It's Sharia law. And a Sharia adherent, for instance, the judge that I'm talking about here, regardless of whether she takes an oath to the Constitution of the United States or the state of Mississippi and says, I will be loyal to that law, her thinking is having been raised in a Sharia adherent family all of her life. She wears the hijab. That is an outward symbol of compliance with Sharia law, because they're obligated to follow it, and her line of thinking and reasoning is going to be tainted by that environment. And we can't allow that environment into the law of the United States of America. And the places where it has been allowed, like Texas, New Jersey, New York, Dearborn, Michigan, it is a disaster for civil rights and freedom, I think.
Well, two things. One, in terms of that, the act, the Communist Control Act, I wonder, does that apply to federal office holders or local and state as well?
I believe it's for federal office holders.
So we need to extend that. That should be extended in some way to apply to everybody. And then, in terms of this, you bring up the idea of taking an oath. Well, that's all fine and good, but there are certain strains of Islam or Sharia law where it's part of the teaching to be disloyal to any oath you take. It's an honor to make a commitment and not follow through on it if it means advancing the causes of a political or hostile takeover. So that's that needs to be examined too.
Yeah, it does. Another part of this is the concept of taqiyya, which is for any objective of Islam, you're also honored if you lie in order to achieve it, which is closely linked to that oath issue. You're absolutely right. I mean, it's just, it's impossible to not have Sharia law intertwined in your thinking. I just read today that Abdul Muhammad al-Said in Michigan, the Democrat nominee in Michigan, he's on video saying he's obligated to follow Sharia law, and that's when he was running for governor of the state of Michigan. So why would we allow someone to hold public office in the United States of America that has that belief system and that legal system ingrained in them, and that they're going to follow it and not follow the legal system they're sworn to defend?
No, this country is built on the Magna Carta and St. Thomas's Summa Theologia and the law of the Old Testament. That's where our law comes from. The Old Testament, Summa Theologia, and the Magna Carta. It does not come from these other cultures. And, that's not, we just have to be comfortable saying that and driving that message, because if we're not, the other side's going to win, and it's not going to be pretty.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Are you guys, do you know if the IACRL is looking at state level legislation on these kinds of issues already? Have they taken that banner up?
Well, I think it's something that they'll probably expand to. I don't think we're looking at it quite yet. It's much more of a messaging movement so far to say that we're here, we're not going anywhere, we're not going to let you force us out. But no, I think we have to. I think it's all hands on deck in all aspects of society and culture. If we're going to save the country, we have to be involved in education. We have to be involved in legislation. And we have to be involved in government. And so it's going to take people like Mike and you and others to continue lobbying or being elected and driving the message and passing the laws that will preserve the country. I don't think our founders realized or would have thought that that there was going to be such a significant influence from so many different parts of the world that that are not naturally aligned with Western Europe. And it's a problem now that is going to have to be addressed, particularly in light of the Constitution. And we're going to have to, the Constitution cannot become a suicide pact, as one of the justices said 100 years ago. We're going to have to, our way of life has got to be preserved, and the Constitution has to preserve it, not at the cost of the country.
Yeah, I think originally, at least for most of our first 250 years, at least 200 of them, we limited immigration pretty strongly from non-Western civilization countries, and even from Western countries for a while, and we opened it up briefly for short periods of time to allow more people in, mostly from Western civilization countries, until recently. And I think the first three presidents all recognized that Mohammedanism, which is what they called it back then, Islam, was like a virus and dangerous to the American concept, the republic.
No, I think that's right. I've been reminded a lot lately of, if you remember the movie Dances with Wolves, and Kevin Costner is speaking to the great actor Graham Greene, who we lost about a year ago. Graham Greene, Kicking Bird. He's constantly asking Kevin Costner throughout the movie, how many more are coming of the white soldiers, the Americans, whatever you want to say. And Kevin kind of avoids answering the question until he sort of gets increasingly comfortable with the tribe. And he finally tells Graham Greene, like the stars. And obviously, that's what happened. That's what happened here. And, I think we have to be concerned about that ourselves. I mean, the influx of Islamists into Western Europe and into this country could simply overwhelm us in numbers. You saw what, 50,000 in one day crossed from Morocco into Spain in one day.
Yeah.
And of course, many of them are apparently have been turned back, but Western countries can't accept billions of Islamists and still preserve their borders, language, and culture. And our borders, language, and culture are worth preserving.
And like the Spanish spent about 700 years pushing the Moors, the Islamists, back out of their country. And now Spanish leadership's letting them back in. That's why those 50,000 showed up, because of the message from the head of the Spanish government, isn't it?
That's true. What's going on in Spain is unbelievable. And the numbers that are reported in terms of foreigners are really underreported, because they're giving out citizenship so quickly that now there's so many Islamists that are now on the books considered Spanish, quote unquote Spanish, and the number of immigrants is being underreported for that reason, because it's only reporting those who have not been given the citizenship yet. So it's a terrible problem in Spain.
Yeah, and we've essentially seen in the Biden administration, like the Haitians at the southern border that had been living in Portuguese-speaking areas in South America were rallied up to come storm our southern border in the tens of thousands. Do you think that the current administration will be successful in their efforts to stop the non-government organizations from doing this kind of stuff?
The Trump administration?
Yeah.
I don't know anyone else who would try besides this administration, and we're going to have to hope for the best. But you see even in Ohio, the so-called Republican leadership of Ohio crying about the repatriation of the Haitians who were only supposed to be here under a temporary status, and now it's been 10, 15, 20 years. So again, the first virtue, as Aristotle told us, the most important virtue is courage. And people have got to have courage to speak plainly, candidly, honestly about the problems we face. And if we don't have courage, we're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah, one of the first media pieces on this judge issue down here from a corporate media, a mainstream media that I saw was they used the word bigotry is leading people to protest her appointment. It has nothing to do with bigotry, but that's the smear. Racism and bigotry. People are afraid of that, but be not afraid, folks. God is with us, and God's always been with the United States of America. His divine providence that led to this, and we will keep it by speaking up and having courage. Mike, we'll be right back for our last segment, and we've got a question from the audience we'll take then.
Take a look at the water you just poured. It looks clean. It tastes fine. But what's really in it? Lead, fluoride, arsenic, chlorine, pesticides, PFAS forever chemicals, pharmaceutical residues, and bacteria. Every single day, these toxins flow straight from your tap into your glass, into your family. It's time for Sentry H2O from Worldview Water. Sentry H2O is the ultimate water treatment technology, designed to remove harmful toxins, balance your water's pH, and enrich it with essential minerals like calcium and magnesium, the way nature intended. From commercial-scale systems to whole-house filtration to crisp, delicious drinking water right at your kitchen sink and shower, Sentry H2O delivers cleaner, healthier water everywhere you need it. No plumber, no tools, no plumbing knowledge required. Perfect for homes, apartments, rentals, RVs, refrigerators, and more. Because everyone deserves access to clean, healthy water. Visit worldviewwater.net. That's worldviewwater.net.
Hey everybody, Mike Byrne here at Trump National in Bedminster, and I just wanted to take a moment to thank Mike Crispy and the Italian American Civil Rights League for doing me the great honor of naming me the Irish American Delegate to the Italian American Civil Rights League. You know, the Irish Americans and the Italian Americans have so much in common and have contributed so much to American culture, whether music or parades, architecture, food. But the one thing that I think distinguishes the Irish and the Italians more so than anything else and what they've contributed to America is the fact that they always put America first. They cherish their traditions. We cherish our traditions that we brought from the homeland, whether it was Ireland or Italy, but we put America first. We love America, and we want to preserve America for the next generation. So I'm looking forward to working with Mike Crispy, the Italian American Civil Rights League, as a partner on behalf of the Irish American community, and I'm looking forward to making America great again.
Welcome back to True Thursday on the Rob Maness Show, and my guest today is that man, Mike Byrne, today discussing this issue because it's critically important. And the reason why I wanted to play that clip, Mike, was because you brought in what all of us that work together and know each other around this country, but not only believe in, but know in our hearts, is that Americans, whether they're immigrants or born here, put America first. If you believe in America, you put America first, and you fight to protect it and defend it so that it's there for our children and grandchildren. So I appreciate you bringing that in. Let's get a question from the audience. We got one left over there before we get to the end here. Go ahead, Shel.
We have IC, sir.
Hi, Shel. Thank you, Colonel. Okay, so I'll try to be as quick as possible. So how do we go about, and do you have any ideas on how to declare Islam a political ideology that simply exists to conquer the world? Because you know they're using our First Amendment against us. So how do we go about that? Because I think that might set our way of dealing with this and putting an end to this serious threat. This is a critical conversation, and I am so grateful for you holding this space. This is so important. So thank you so much for the mic.
Thank you for the question. I think that's the core issue, isn't it, Mike?
Yes, I think it is. There's a saying that when the people lead, the leaders will follow. So it's before I think government is likely to make any sort of pronouncement, as the caller suggests. Groups have to do it, whether it's community groups like the Italian American Civil Rights League or Patriot groups, or the groups like the America First Republicans that I co-chair in New Jersey, maybe even at the formal parties. The Republican Party at the next national convention should pass a plank of the platform. But groups have to speak up first, and then I think you'll see we're going to have to see the government follow suit.
Yeah. Do you think do you think that it's possible to get the still loyal Americans that exist, and I in my heart I know some still exist in the Democrat Party, to come on board and step up, so we have voices from across the spectrum in our citizenry to say, no, this is wrong. We have to put a stop to it. Is that possible today, even?
Maybe for a handful of folks. I mean, you always have a handful of patriots that realize that the party's going too far. I remember Zell Miller's great speech at the 2004 convention, speaking out against John Kerry and Ted Kennedy. So, you could probably find a couple pockets of people, but I think at the moment, the derangement, as we say, that people have for the leader of the country right now is and frankly, the way the Democrats seem to always put the Democrat Party first in large measure. I don't think you're going to get a lot of that, but I think you can always get some, and we have to.
Yeah. Do you think we'll get enough on the Republican side? I mean, I've been shocked at some of the voices that I've heard over this last week since this broke in Mississippi that minimize the issue, say it's not a big deal, throw in the First Amendment. We can't outlaw someone's faith, misconstruing the Sharia law aspect of this and the violent Sharia law implementation of this. I've just been absolutely shocked at the lack of lackadaisical approach to this by some, not all, but some. The base understands it.
Well, that's frankly the more important issue, and that's the issue in a lot of aspects of the law, is that you have to hold Republicans accountable first. We got enough problems, as you indicate, with weaklings and rhinos and patsies in the Republican Party, that if we don't hold them accountable first and keep them on board, it's not even worth going after the Democrats in some cases. That party is largely lost at the moment. Doesn't mean there can't be some sort of reversal in the future, but we have to you have to go to, Republican conventions and get involved in your county committees and your town committees and hold those groups accountable, so that at least one of the two main political parties is fighting on our side on this issue. But you're right about that. I mean, it's probably for a national audience to hear that it's a problem in Mississippi. That's, it's kind of wild for me to think about. But I know it's a problem here in New Jersey in significant aspects of the party, where they don't want to stand up for the cultural values and mores that made this country great, and you have to hold them accountable.
Yeah, one of the things that I noticed with this judge. And what made the story break is that Amy Meck from Texas, who runs the Rare Foundation, their team saw the media coverage in the Islamic media, even Sky News Arabia, which is a Fox News Murdoch type organization, was picking up, and its celebratory nature that this judge, even though she's a municipal judge, I mean, you're talking like traffic tickets and stuff. But they were celebrating this as so much so that it makes you believe that they now think, hey, even Mississippi can be settled by Islam and overtaken by Islam. That's how much they were celebrating. But the folks that I talk to that want to minimize this, or that we hear from, don't seem to care or think that's significant. I think that's very significant. You don't see that every day.
No, and you get lulled into complacency. I mean, these people are not, they're not stupid. They know what they're doing.
No.
You get lulled into complacency with these very small steps. I mean, you had a situation the other day, I believe at St. Peter's Basilica, where an Islamic gentleman rolled out a prayer mat and faced Mecca within St. Peter's Basilica to do his daily prayer to Mecca.
Mm.
I mean, would this be allowed? Could we ring the Angelus bells in Mecca? I don't think so. Then you have in Ireland, we started out talk about the Irish American Delegate to the Italian American Civil Rights League. There's a beauty contest every year, the famous beauty contest, the Rose of Tralee. And they, just like Miss America, they crown the Rose of Tralee, and different cities around the world are represented, different counties in Ireland. The Dublin Rose is a Somali girl. I'm sure she's a nice person, but why can't the Rose of Tralee be preserved as for Irish and Irish Americans and those of Irish descent? So it's these small things, these small little incidents, these small little anecdotes in history, and then it's like the camel in the nose of the tent, and all of a sudden you've lost everything. So
yeah.
No, municipal judge, you got to be careful. Municipal judge becomes a county judge, and then all of a sudden she's a Supreme Court judge. So
yeah. Well, you have a lot of experience in local action and local organizing and all that. Let's just spend the last few minutes talking about that kind of activity and how people that haven't been involved before, because that's what we're asking for. You and I mean, our folks, we're on it, but we need to get people that haven't been involved before involved. What advice do you give folks up there on how to get involved at the local level? Because I think that's where the impact's going to be felt the most.
Well, it's what the president has talked about. It's what Steve Stern has talked about. It's what many people have talked about. You have to get involved at the local level. And what I alluded to earlier, if you are a Republican, get involved in your precinct, in your town, or your county committee. Where I live in New Jersey, it's the county committees that are corrupt, the most corrupt, and have the most influence. We have 21 counties with 21 county chairmen, most of whom are involved for their own personal profit or their own personal objectives to become judges or appointed to some sort of high-paid position. It could vary in other states as to what level the real power is. But here in New Jersey, it's at the county level. You've got to get involved and take your municipal organizations back, your county organizations back, because they often have a huge say in who gets elected to local and state office. And then those folks often move up to federal office. And, we're all very familiar with, most of us probably watching this show are very familiar with what's going on in Washington and who the real fighters are out of the 535 congressmen and senators. And there's not enough. We could probably name the real fighters before the end of this show out of those 535 people. And if we don't replace the weaklings with strong America First fighters, people who work their way up from the grassroots, we're not going to achieve what we've been talking about in this show, which is preserving our culture and our country.
Yeah, exactly right. So Mike, let's just close it out with this. What's your message to the Italian Americans out there and the Irish Americans on the way forward on this and the activities, the tempo? Just how aggressive do we need to be?
Oh, we need to be extremely aggressive, and we need to stand together. And if you are an Italian American and you want to get involved with the Italian American Civil Rights League, you can email the group info@iacrl.org. You can follow them on Twitter, the IACRL on Twitter. You can follow the national president, Mike Crispy. You can follow me on Twitter. I think you'll have my handle up soon. Yep. And you can reach out to us. We're happy to help you get organized in your communities. We're happy to help you found a chapter of the Italian American Civil Rights League. If you are Irish and you want to get involved as a part of sort of the Irish auxiliary of the Italian American Civil Rights League, I'm happy to talk to you. And as we debut other other ethnicities that are a part of this movement. I know we have a Jewish gentleman, Dr. Soloway, who's going to be announced soon. We have Polish, we have Germans. They're going to be coming on board. And, you know, we all have to stand together as Americans who put America first and who cherish. We're happy to bring our cultures from Western Europe to be a part of America, but we all stand together here, united as Americans, putting America first to save America and save Western civilization.
Absolutely right, my friend. If you go to Little Italy, go to the Cafe Palermo, owned by a great Italian American. Baby John is what he goes by. I got to have dinner there with Mike and him right after the inauguration last year, and it's phenomenal. So
the cannoli king.
He's the cannoli king. Exactly right, the cannoli king. I'm glad you said that, Mike. And I'll be up in your